What's up, guys? Justin here with TheSketchUpEssentials.com. This week we're checking out an extension in SketchUp that's for more organic things, for doing things like creating terrains and adding roads to terrains and other things like that. It's built into SketchUp and it's called SANDBOX Tools. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. Okay, and so this video is part of a series that I've been doing on the best architectural extensions for SketchUp in 2026. You can get the whole list, including tutorial links, downloadable example models, and links to the extensions themselves by visiting the SketchUpEssentials.com/architecture extensions and downloading my free architectural extensions guide. Okay, and so SANDBOX Tools is a tool set that's built into the desktop version of SketchUp. You don't have access to any of these tools in the free version, but it still works as an extension. And so you can activate it just by making sure that SANDBOX Tools is enabled in your SketchUp extension manager. It should be installed in SketchUp by default. And then by right-clicking in your toolbar area and toggling on the SANDBOX button right here in order to pop this tool setup. And so there's a number of interesting tools in here. So first off is a tool for generating terrains from contours, right? So say you've got a number of contours like this and you want to create a surface. Well, if you tried to manually generate a surface, you'd be in here forever just drawing like triangles, right? It would never really work. Well, what From Contours does, the first option in here, is it allows you to select a series of contours like this, and then you can activate it. And when you activate it, it's going to generate a surface based on those contours. And now if we look at the hidden geometry this creates triangulated geometry in here. So basically it's coming in here and triangulating all of this in order to create those surfaces. And you can kind of see that on the top where there's a whole bunch of triangles running across the top. But basically this has given us a surface based on those lines. And so you can do things like if you have your own series of lines like this, if I was to select them and run from contours, like so, what that's going to do is that's going to generate a surface that's triangulated from the lines that you have in here. And so this is really interesting because it can also be used to create things like frames. So for example, say that I was to draw a surface here and a surface here. If you select edges, so I'm just going to draw a simple arc here and a simple arc here. Like this, if you select a series of closed edges like so, what you can do is you can use this tool in order to add things like berms and other things like that. This tool is actually really helpful for patching holes as well. And so this will also work on more complex things. So in this case, what I've done, right, is I've drawn a double curve in here, and then I've drawn lines down to the corners like so. And if I select all of these, I can use this in order to generate a surface from those edges as well. Now, the other place where I use this a lot is to do things like patching openings. So for example, say that I've got this hole in this terrain right here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all of the edges like this. And then I'm going to activate From Contours, and that's going to patch those openings in. Now you can see how if we look at the hidden geometry in here, this is all triangulated geometry. So it's maybe not the nicest mesh you've ever seen, but overall it does a really good job of doing things like patching in those openings too. And so in addition to that, we also have other tools. So for example, this tool right here is going to create a terrain mesh from scratch. And so where that gets valuable is say that you were to just draw a simple rectangle in here, right? Well, what SANDBOX Tools does is it basically, and we'll get into the smoove tool in a second, but basically what it does is it moves the different vertices of a face in here up and down in order to generate that surface. Well, the problem is right now, if I just draw like a simple rectangle like this one, it doesn't give me enough supporting geometry to actually be able to work with. However, if I use the second option, which is from scratch, what that's going to do is that's going to let me draw a grid in here like this that's then going to be editable. And notice how if you toggle off the hidden geometry, it just looks like a bunch of squares, but really this is a bunch of triangles in here in a grid. And so what that means is that means when you come in here and you start making changes. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit by typing in a value of 30 feet like so. Notice what it does is around the center of this object, it moves things up and down very strongly. And then going out from that, it gets a little bit weaker. So you get a really strong effect right in the middle. You get a little bit weaker effect as it kind of like moves away from the center of that object. Now, when you activate this tool, you can type in a value. So if I typed in a value of 20 feet right here and hit the enter key, that's going to make this a 20-foot radius rather than 30 foot. And then when I click in here like this, right, it's going to move those elements up and down. Now, one thing that you can do, and I don't recommend doing a ton of this, you have to be really careful. Like, you don't want to accidentally activate the tool right here while you have a bunch of faces and edges selected, because what it's going to do is it's going to try to calculate that fall off radius from every point in here, and it takes it a long time. But what you can do is say that you wanted to take multiple elements like this. You could select them both and then activate this, and notice how it gives you a fall off radius for both of those places right here. So you can use this in order to move these up and down. Now, note that this only really works in an up and down direction. It doesn't really work side to side. Now, one thing that I find helpful with this is sometimes you have a shape like this one, and you want to be able to use something like the smoove tool. And right now, if you try to do that, so if I activate that smoove tool, notice how it's only going to work on like one point, and you get this really bad deformation in here because you don't have any supporting geometry. Well, one thing I find extremely helpful in a situation like this is I'll actually draw a from contours grid over top of this element, and then I'll move it up, and we're going to use another function, which we'll talk about more in a minute. But for this application, I want you to just kind of see how it works. What I'll do is I'll draw this grid, and then I'll use the drape function. What the drape function does is it drapes the geometry that's inside of the object you have selected on the surface. Well, in this case, when I drape that over the surface, now I have all of that supporting geometry inside of this object right here. So now, if I want to make edits inside of this element, I can do that because I've added that grid to the surface in here. And so draping your from scratch can be a really good way to get editable geometry on a surface like this. One other thing is if we take this element and we're going to make it a group, if we use the soften edges function and we check the box for soften coplanar, and I'll turn my hidden geometry off, what that'll do is that'll go in and it'll soften all of that geometry that's in here so that you don't have all of those triangulated edges and things like that showing up, which gives you a much cleaner mesh. And so we talked about the smoove tool already, right? So basically you just click into a shape. And again, notice how you want to, when you activate this, you want to be wherever the raw geometry is. So in this case, this is a group. So I want to double click into the group, but then that smoove tool is going to let me move that geometry up and down like this. The next tool is a tool that's really interesting for stamping things onto terrain, right? So a lot of the time when we're using elements like this, what we have is we have a terrain, but then we want to take an element and we want to use that flat element that we draw above this in order to affect what the geometry does down below. And so in this case, if I select this surface right here, and then I activate the option for stamp, and then I click, what that's going to do is that's going to stamp this element down on the terrain. And notice how when you activate the tool and you click on this, notice how there's a red border and then a value down here. Well, if you type in a value like 4 feet, for example, and then hit the enter key, then what this is going to do is this is going to offset that out by 4 feet instead of by 1 foot. So what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to set how far out this transitional area from your object is going to be. So say if I clicked on this and I typed in a value of 10 feet right here, and notice how you have to like turn the tool off. So I'm just hitting the space key and then turn it back on like so in order to see where that offset is going to go. So in this case, we might want this to be more like 8 feet. But if I reactivate the tool and then click on the surface, I can kind of see where that is. Well, now if I click in here, you can see how it's giving me an 8-foot offset in here as well. And so one thing that can be really helpful is if you have something that has a slope to it, if your original object has a slope and then you stamp this into the terrain like so. So I'm going to stamp this and I'm going to bring that offset down to about 5 feet. But if I stamp this into the terrain right here, notice what that's going to do is that's going to maintain the slope of your original element like this. So when you draw your two-dimensional, or I guess this is 3D, it's just flat. When you draw your 3D element in here like this. If you have it set to whatever your slope is going to be, so if you know like a bottom elevation and a top elevation, and then you stamp this in, what you stamp in is going to follow that same elevation inside of the surface right here, but you still get this kind of like offset along the outside in here that gives you this transitional area where you would do the grading to whatever your shape is going to be. And again, if you select this element, just make sure you check the box for soften coplanar. Sometimes you need to click and drag like this in order to get that to work. But notice how that's going to soften this down. Now the next tool can be really helpful because when we soften this, right, notice how this then shows up as like a singular surface, which is not necessarily what we want. Well, the next tool can be really helpful because what this tool will do is instead of stamping on the surface, it's just going to drape on the surface. It's called drape, and basically what it does is it takes your two-dimensional element and it drapes it down on the surface. And so when it does that, what that does is that splits out the face. That splits out the face down below by adding edges in here. So then you can select that face separately, right? So I'm able to do things like draping roads or draping shapes in here. So say I wanted this to have a different color. This can be a really effective way of splitting up a surface so that we can draw different things on it. So now, like, this could be brown. This could be green. This could have different things in here. So this is an effective way to split this up so that you can apply things like different materials. Well, in this case, what we could do is we could take this road and we could drape it down on this surface right here. Well, what that's done is that split out the geometry where the actual road is like this. So we could use stamp in order to stamp this and use drape in order to split it out so you can access just this geometry. A lot of the time you might have a road or a surface that you need to drop down like so, but then what you're really going to do is you're going to have your road in here. You're also going to have this kind of like transitional area where you're going to do grading to get up to the surface. So a lot of the time I'll figure out how far that grading area is going to be, and then I'll also drape that on the surface. And what that does is that gives you the ability to come in here and delete these. And then you can use a different tool. Like there's an extension I like called Soap, Skin, and Bubble that creates more like quad geometry. And what that does is that allows you to select along the surfaces. And so we'll just hide this for right now. And I just want to select the edges. And this probably would be a decent time for me to use the lasso select tool, but that's okay. But then if I use that Soap, Skin, and Bubble tool, it'll come in here and it'll create more of a quad mesh in here like this, and it'll give me much smoother results. So a lot of the time I'll use drape in order to figure out where that kind of like transitional area is between a road and something else, and use this in order to create more quad or more clean geometry in there. And so there are a couple other tools in here that you can use in order to do things like adding detail. So like, for example, if I needed to add detail to this surface, this will add edges to triangulated faces. So if I try to use it right now, it's not going to work. But as soon as I draw a triangle across here and then I select these faces, this will come in here and this will add detail like so. So you want to make sure you select all of these before you do that. But notice how this will come in here and this will like re-triangulate whatever I have selected in here. So for these areas, for example, I can use this to add additional detail. So if I have a bunch of like fine sculpting that needs to go on in an area or something like that, I can use this to add detail over here without making it like super heavy over here on the right-hand side. So I don't use that a ton because it can create really complicated meshes, but it is definitely in there. And then this last function just flips the triangles, so the edges in your triangles right here, in order to change the way that the faces are triangulated. So if you ever get an area where your surface just doesn't look very good, you can come in here and try flipping those and seeing what it does. All right, so that's an overview of SANDBOX tools. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you're using this. If you have any great SANDBOX workflows, I just love having that conversation with you guys. If you want to get the full architectural extensions guide, you can do that at thesketchupessentials.com/architecture extensions. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.